This is Wink here, reporting in on the Oregon section of my PCT hike. Recording this actually after the trail. I wrote down my notes, but I just didn't have time with the busyness of just getting to the end. So, anyways, this is my review or overview of the Oregon section. So Oregon began. It was really exciting to know that we're hiking in a new state, new energy, hiking with Breezy, Baby, and Stash. So we're all pretty psyched to get to Ashland, the first little town there. But there was the Hendrix fire going on. So we weren't sure if we are going to have to take this alternate or if we would be able to hike through, stay on the PCT trail. So we got there. It wasn't well marked, so we decided just to stay on the trail. We ended up actually seeing 3 National Guard groups 3 different times, so that was interesting. But they were nice, and they just said, just stay on the trail and don't mess with the fire crews. So that was exciting. We got to Callahan's Lodge, where we were able to get a free beer, I think, and then a guy there gave us a ride into Ashland, the town. So we had a hotel to rest up. So Ashland was surprisingly smoky, well named Ashland. It seemed like it was really bad smoke there, worse than near the Hendrix fire. But it was a great little town. We had all you could eat Indian buffet. Oh, so good. Hitch out of Ashland was pretty hysterical. We were just like walking down the road. We decided just to go to the grocery store, get some ice cream right before, but we'd throw our thumbs out to see if we'd get a ride. And this Mercedes like SUV, like they yelled out the window, like, "Do you need anything?" And we're like, "We need a ride." Baby yelled it at them, and they ended up turning around, and it was 3 middle-aged women, and they gave us a ride back, which was super cool. It was just a funny thing because it was like 4 guys in their 30s and then like probably 3 women in their 50s. They gave us a bottle of wine though to take on the trail, and then some cheesecakes. So that was really nice of them, and we're really appreciative. Now I'm full swing into Stash's push-up challenge. So he's pretty good about like at break stopping and doing push-ups. And so now as the group of guys, we're kind of competitive. So we're just seeing who does the most push-ups each day. So Stash usually wins with like 100 to 150. But now I feel like I'm finally catching my swing, and I'm joining in, getting a lot more push-ups now. Kind of the layout of Oregon overall is that it is smooth trails. There were some days where we just like would wake up and just cruising soft ground. It was really nice. The morning times were definitely the best, as the afternoons were hot and there was burn sections. The water sources were mostly lakes versus, springs. So it's just not quite as ideal water, but the terrain, just less elevation gain and smooth trails, it made it really nice. Our next stop after Ashland was to get to Crater Lake, I believe. So that was exciting to hike towards Crater Lake. There was a little town there where we were able to eat again, good meals, take a shower. So that was all really. Leaving Crater Lake, we had an interesting time. We decided to leave in the evening, so then we could avoid the hotness of the midday. And as we hiked out and we got up to the rim, we actually couldn't see the lake. The fires in the area, there was just so many. I think we looked at a map and there was more than 50 fires in the area. None close enough to the trail for any trail closures, but made a lot of smoke. So couldn't see the lake, couldn't see Treasure Island, the little island inside that lake. But we made the most of it, and we thought it was kind of an interesting experience of the lake, because a lot of times you see that big, beautiful lake. I'd seen it before. It's blue, so blue. But our experience was, we knew that there was something impressive and big, but it was kind of shrouded from us. So it made it an interesting experience crossing the river. The next day we got up feeling pretty good. We hiked, hiking, cruising, enjoying the Oregon trails. And there was this little side trail to do, and we looked at this peak all in the morning, which was Mount Thielsen. So we said, what the heck, we're going to climb it. So it was like over a 2,000 foot climb, probably like a extra, 3 miles off the trail, the PCT. But we were feeling it, so we got up there. Stash and I got almost all the way, and then I'd say the last 50 feet of Thielsen was actually a rock climb, so I didn't want to get stuck and not be able to down climb it. So, but Breezy and Baby both were able to get all the way to the top and get the 360. and that was a cool little side adventure that day. Thielsen, super glad I did it. Really tired at the end of that day though. We still did 35 miles that day, so also summiting Mount Thielsen made it a full day. One of the issues that I was kind of dealing with first part of Oregon was just foot pain, just like from blisters. So kind of at the palm of my toes where just pain from like, it felt like a big blister, like a quarter-sized blister was forming there. So yeah, it's just kind of throbbing a lot. But what I noticed is if I kept hiking on it, eventually it would kind of go numb. So made it work. Our next stop was Shelter Cove, which is this nice RV park, and we were excited to get there. I was still having foot problems, so I felt like I was like limping into Shelter Cove, but I was able to share a Hawaiian pizza with Stash, and others had burgers, and Breezy had a salad, and I had a root beer float, I think. So it was a really nice stop, and that was our first time. The trail down to Shelter Cove was the first time that there was just blueberries all on the trail, and Breezy was like, "You didn't see the blueberries?" And so on the way, we actually hiked out that night just so we didn't have to pay for camping, and so on our way hiking out, we all picked blueberries and then we camped together. So that was a cool stop, Shelter Cove. One of our more notable days was our hike to Mackenzie Pass in Oregon. So what made it memorable was that it was a long day. I think it was almost 45 miles, and that was one of the exits off to Bend/Sisters. So we could have just gotten off there, but we were saying that we were gonna hike there and wake up in the morning, go to the big youth camp and have a pancake breakfast, and then go to the next entrance 18 miles away. Well, turns out after that long day, it was a great day. We went through Obsidian Falls, really beautiful black obsidian, and then just interesting scenery. But it was super painful to walk on just after walking 40 plus miles. So by the time we got to Mackenzie Pass, it was a Saturday morning the next day, or it was a Friday night, and we said we're going to sleep in and then we're going to catch a ride from there instead. So great decision. Woke up, there was trail angels there, and we got some food. We got to sleep in, which was really needed after that 40. And then we all caught rides back into Sisters Bend. That's where I kind of separated from my group. I ended up meeting up an old friend, Brendan, who's now Brother Elias with the Dominican Order. His group was on retreat nearby, so he was able to pick me up from Bend, and he said I smelled like a homeless person, but they were really gracious, and I got a shower, and I got to spend time with them, which was like a retreat. So it was really peaceful, no walking, and I got to recover. After my time with the Dominicans and Brother Elias, then I got a ride back into Bend. We ended up taking one more zero, so our third 0 day, and it was fun just to hang out with the guys in Bend. Cool little town there. Got a couple of rides around town, got new hiking shoes, and I was just feeling really good about the break. There's this river that goes through the town, and we weren't able to get a full, donut float for the four of us, so we ended up buying one, and then 4 full-grown guys grabbed on, and we floated down, and we looked ridiculous, and the water was really cold. So that was a funny moment. A couple breweries, and they gave us free beer. We played bags. But overall, Bend was one of the best stops, I'd say. It was great. Getting back on trail at Mackenzie Pass, again, we had to hike in that volcanic rock, which was hard on the feet. And so our days after Bend were really long and tiring. I think we're all just mentally fatigued, after 3 nice days of rest, having to get back at it. So the days after was tough. But big youth camp was the morning after, so we left in the evening to get back on trail, and then the next morning there was this youth camp, and they let PCT hikers eat breakfast there. So that was super nice, and we had a great breakfast there. After that, then we hiked and we hit the 2,000 mile marker, which was great. It just felt amazing to know that you were able to take yourself that far. That was cool. In my notes here, I make another comment of just how the Oregon section after our break in Bend just really took its toll on us. We're just all feeling in a lull with the burn sections, just seeing all the devastation from the forest fires and the hot afternoons. We were just really tired and burnt out. A couple of lakes that I really enjoyed there. One was Timothy Lake, which is this huge lake, and we took a really nice break there that just totally cooled us off. There was a tree canopy, and Townie and Pincushion were there with us, and so it was nice just to be able to relax at a lake. And then shortly after that was another great little lake called Little Crater Lake, and it's this super blue, tiny little lake, but freezing cold water, 34 degrees, so we were able to cool off a little bit in that, and very memorable. After our Little Crater Lake experience, the next morning, I believe, we had like 7 miles to push on to Mount Hood, which is this big volcanic mountain on the north border of Oregon. So what's important about that is they have Timberline Lodge there, which has the all-you-can-eat buffet, breakfast, brunches, whatever the timing. So we are really motivated to get there, and we're still feeling pretty down, just energy-wise. So we all get to there, have an amazing breakfast. It was really good, and we were super excited. The fellas, I ended up catching a ride to government camp to get my package, which I couldn't get because the post office had limited hours. So I ended up buying a couple Subway sandwiches, or not Subway, but just subs for my resupply and my leftover food from my bag. And it was enough to get me to Cascade Locks. Well, the fellas wanted to just take a nap and then pull a 50-miler day, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I ended up getting back, and then I just dropped them off some chocolate milks I picked up for them. And then I ended up just taking off because I made up my mind that it would be easier to do 15 miles in the afternoon than wake up and do 35, then pull a 50-miler all through the night. So I ended up taking off by myself, which was super pleasant. There was berries everywhere. The water was misty and grayed out around Mount Hood, and it was just perfect weather. And I just really enjoyed hiking. Shepherd, who's a gal that was hiking by herself, and so we were able to hike a little bit together, but then I ended up camping before she was done, and so it was really nice. The next day, woke up, normal time, hiked, and then I caught up with Shepherd, and we hiked and chatted the rest of the way into Cascade Locks, which is the final city of Oregon. So I had made it to the Oregon-Washington border. Overall, I'd say that Oregon was the hardest state for me. Just at that point, we were just really pushing big days, 40-mile days at points, and the hot afternoons, the water sources, and just kind of probably the fact that we were in month 3, that just an energy lull overall, but still a great state, a lot of beauty, and I'm so glad I got to hike it. Thanks for watching. Bye.